Hey, everybody. Welcome again to another episode of Education Some Education. Hopefully, everyone's doing well out there. It's the last week of April in Chicago, which means we're just getting over some snow. We do every year. It snows in April, and every year a bunch of people who just moved here are like, "Oh my God, it's snowing in it!" It happens every year. Just not it happened. Now put your jacket back and get back out your slightly less warm jacket, and then go to a park and play some frisbee. We're doing the ASMR portion, which was on the old show. We're doing the ASMR portion up top where if anyone gets an ASMR reaction from me being a condescending asshole, just get your jacket, play some frisbee, call your mother. Awesome! It's great to be here. I'm coming off. I did some shows last weekend for the first time in a year. Ken Hamlett.
How was it? Talk about it, man. Talk about it.
It was fun. That's all there really is to say. I was very nervous. It was at a haunted mansion, so it was good to see my dad again. My hotel room in the mansion had a balcony, and I was on the balcony practicing my material, which is something I had not done in 12 years. But I'm literally just saying my jokes out loud to myself. And then while I'm on the balcony, from the other side of the building, from like the backyard into the side yard, while I'm saying my material, I see two guys walk from the back into the side yard, and I wish they would have seen me masturbating instead of doing my act. That's how embarrassed I was. Just be alone on a balcony going, "Yeah, I saw my dad. Oh no!" So I'm in school now. Oh boy, going to Joinkies. And then I talked a lot of Scooby-Doo up there. Ken, when's the last time is your son old enough to watch Scooby-Doo? How old is he now? 16, 15?
He's 18 and a half.
Good kid. Good kid. He's so strong, and he's too old to watch Scooby-Doo.
Too old to watch Scooby-Doo.
Oh, but he's like 2. That's no Scooby-Doo yet. That's no TV.
I think well, we started doing TV this year. Because we tried to do the first 2 years without TV. We wanted to do 3, but once I hit 2, they're like way too active, and you're like, just sit down, watch the TV, man. I'm ready.
Yeah. They are Mallory's brother, who lives about 3 blocks away. They were no TV they were trying to do 3 years no TV, and then they accidentally it's not an accident. They had a second one before they wanted to. And now those kids, oh boy, those kids
got tablets and everything. Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's no bath, there's no bed without 5 Mickey Mouse videos. That's how it works.
Yeah, we're not that bad. He just gets to watch TV when we're like watching TV and stuff. Because before we would be like, you can't even watch TV while we're watching TV. We're like, no, go play with toys. Don't look at the screen.
Yeah, we're watching bad stuff. Yeah. We're watching naughty shows.
Yeah.
We're watching Taxi Cab Confessions.
That was a great show.
You know what? Taxi Cab Confessions, another show where I really think that was integral for our generation of young men. I don't know.
It's who would have thought that the whole point of that show was like talking to your taxi driver, and then us to get of age to be in taxis by ourselves and Ubers to just put on headphones and never talk a word to them, like.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of not speaking a word to someone, we've let this sit here for far too long. A very funny comedian, someone I've known for probably 6, 7, 8, 9 years now. Reena Calm is with us. Hello, Reena.
Hello.
How's it going?
How long has it been? Probably the whole time you've been in Chicago, right?
2012, 9 years.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Wow. Time flies when you look this good. Uh,
Reena, of course, is speaking exclusively for herself. I have looked like a giant bag of potatoes.
Mike is like, time has actually been going backwards for me.
Been all
Bag of potatoes, that's like Bagger Vance. Wait, is Bagger Vance the one that aged backwards? Or that's Benjamin Button. Never
That's
mind.
Button,
Golf.
yeah.
All right. Well, I don't watch movies. We weren't allowed to watch a lot growing up, so
Oh, I can't wait to get into that. I do
yeah.
love. We haven't had. Have we? Ken? Has there been anyone on the show yet who've talked about what they weren't allowed to watch, other than talking about me and how I wasn't allowed to say fart?
What?
We did have that one time. There was a family, because it was during that episode where you were talking about not being able to say fart. And who was the guest? They weren't allowed. They were only allowed to watch movies that they had in the house.
Oh,
So
Hagen.
all VHSs, yeah.
I can't. I'm sorry, but I not being allowed to say fart. I'm trying to imagine that, like in my family, and it's like I cannot imagine being raised in a home where I wasn't allowed to acknowledge my father. I live with my brother right now in Milwaukee, and like something I noticed when I like first got here, I was like, wow, I think we like bring it out in each other. It's almost like competitive farting. Anyway, it's like a volume thing. It's pretty
Okay.
fresh smelling, but
A lot of our listenership is 12 to 15-year-old boys.
oh,
They
good.
can't get enough. They're like, oh my God, they're like the Paul brothers, but for your ears. That's what they say about me and Ken. Okay, so you grew up in Massachusetts.
I did. Sassy Massey. Can I tell you something that's honestly very true and a little bit embarrassing is that until I was way too old to believe this, I really thought that Massachusetts were from I thought that Cheez-Its were from Massachusetts. Like I thought there was a correlation and I loved Cheez-Its, so I had like this weird sense of like Massachusetts pride because of Cheez-Its, but it's like not anything to do with Massachusetts. And yeah, we didn't really watch sports either, so I was like rooting for Cheez-Its.
That
So, tribalism is an odd thing. So you would root for the square cheese. That was your Patriots, Bruins, Celtics. Who cares?
Okay,
When I see Goldfish, I punch him.
Nibs, get the fuck out. You
Yeah.
know,
Ugh.
well, to be fair, when I say root for, I don't really think I was ever rooting for Cheez-Its, except for like, okay, let's be honest, when you get to the bottom of the bag and you drink the crumbs, like we're all like rooting for that. Yeah. Uh, but that's the goal, right? No, we didn't like have sports really growing up or anything. The Patriots weren't good when I was a kid, so
but the
um,
Celtics were.
yeah, but my dad kind of didn't let us have anything that wasn't Jewish. So Cheez-Its, I don't think were allowed, but like I snuck them. I don't know. Either way.
There you go. I'm sure they was there. Okay, so first off, did you grow up with Hydrox cookies?
Yes. Wow. Deep cut.
Bummer.
Yeah.
Hydrox cookies. Let's talk about. I don't know what that is.
Kosher Oreos.
Kosher Oreo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy.
Kosher / less good Oreos. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's not kosher about an Oreo?
Isn't there gelatin in the?
I think they would have to be kosher now because they're vegan
They're
now.
vegan, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe it was gelatin or I don't know what. Honestly, some of it I'm learning now is more of like like you have to pay for all those kinds of like labelings and especially for keeping kosher, you have to have an actual rabbi like certify it. So I think there's probably stuff that might be kosher, but just wasn't like formally kosher, you know?
That makes a lot of sense. Well, also, doesn't it have to be prepared with like a rabbi near it to be?
Yeah. Well, like same way like Oreos don't advertise as being vegan or whatever. There's other, like Cheerios are vegan, but they don't say vegan on the box kind of a thing. So like why pay for all of that if you're going to sell Cheerios? You don't need help, you know?
Hmm.
I don't know.
I get it, but the Hydrox cookie was boy oh boy. That was my mom accidentally bought them once.
Oh, you poor thing. Oh, you had
That's
to
the worst thing that's ever happened to me. All right, that's the show. Goodbye, everybody.
Yeah.
like Jewish kids aren't raised to believe in like eternal hellfire, but we have to keep kosher while we're alive, and that is a punishment in itself. Like I don't understand,
So no, so were you guys Orthodox or what sort of sect?
I so we were, and I like hate even saying this, we were conservadox, which
Conservadox. I like
which
that.
is just my dad's way of not fitting in with anyone.
Just being a
We're gonna
square peg in a round hole the whole
yeah,
time. Okay.
we're gonna do this our way.
Yeah.
Like we went to the conservative synagogue, but we walked there, which really set us apart from like we walked like almost 2 miles each way to get to shul
What?
every Saturday. And we didn't use electricity really much in our house, but like yeah, like it wasn't an Orthodox synagogue. Like we were sitting men and women together. Um,
Wait,
yeah,
Orthodox Jews don't use electricity?
I mean just on the Sabbath.
Oh, on the Sabbath. Yeah, I was like, what?
Well, it's like actually, it's really intricate how they do use electricity. Like you can have like a heating plate, like you can have like you just can't turn anything on. So like you can have your lights set on timers, or you can prearrange to hire a non-Jewish person to come and do things with electricity for you. But you can't make that arrangement on Shabbat. So like you could hire somebody on Thursday to come over and flip a switch on Saturday. There's no room in there for like emergency electricity needs, or for the fact that the actual rule was written about not building a fire on the Sabbath, and like flipping a switch is very different. So it's pretty weird.
Hmm.
Doesn't really make sense if you think about it too hard.
There's a lot of things with religion, and I think with politics as well, where a certain thing was written an unconscionably long time ago
Mm.
that hasn't been updated at all, and there's a certain group of people in each of these groups that don't want that thing changed, and I
Like,
think that gets in the way of so much.
Yeah.
no kidding. Here's a really dumb example of it not making sense. My dad, every Friday, will still, I think, unscrew the light bulb inside the refrigerator so that when he opens the plugged in and electronic refrigerator, he's not turning on a light. Yeah. Yeah.
So it just eats by sonar on Friday. It's all dark. He's like, well, what's it gonna be? Butter again. How dare I?
Just begrudgingly eats the butter with a spoon.
But even those rules about keeping kosher, all it says in the Torah is like you can't boil a baby kid in its own mother's milk. Like a baby goat can't be cooked in its own mother's goat milk. And it's like, well, nobody's doing that. I mean, maybe then, I don't know. It's no Cheez-Its, let me tell you.
Man, I do love a cheese. Reena, what's your favorite Cheez-It variety?
Toasted or toasty, sorry. They're not vegan, so I don't eat them anymore. And that's like it's a weakness for me. When I see Cheez-Its, I'm like, I feel a certain way, and it's hard for me to keep walking at the store.
Are you still vegan when you're on the ROAD?
Mostly, I'm not like super duper strict, and I still eat eggs because I'm also pro-choice. That's a joke. But
That's the opening right there.
yeah, I say that every night. I'm hardly booked, but I do manage to sneak that in.
Just wait till your episode of Education Education comes in.
Yeah,
Through the roof.
but yeah,
It's a big industry podcast. They love it. Everyone's telling us, hey, I own
Several clubs.
network.
Several clubs.
Honestly, I went vegan when I was on the road, and it is super difficult and challenging to stick to that while you're touring, but at the same time I kind of like needed that challenge as like it just was like the only way I could like monitor my intake at all, because when I started touring I was just surviving off of Arby's sliders because they're $1 between 2 and 5. So I would have Arby's every day and smoke cigarettes. And being vegan started from needing to be efficient in bathrooms. When you're when you're crabbing at a truck stop, you kind of want to be as efficient as possible, you know?
Get that situation over with.
Yeah, so that's how it started. And then surprisingly, actually being vegan on the road was like kind of like a challenge that I was like into, but then staying vegan during quarantine was like a real test, you know?
Couldn't even imagine it.
Yeah.
Imagine it. And I've really cut down on my meat intake during this, but that has everything to do with me not wanting to go to the grocery store as much, and Mal super into salads. And so
Yeah.
that's really helped that situation. And boy, oh boy, it does really clean things up in the old water closet.
Is that what you call it? Is that what you guys call it?
It's a water closet?
We call it the water closet. What do you guys call it? Something regular?
Yeah, bathroom, the pooper.
The pooper. Ugh. Have some decorum, Kendall.
My bedroom.
Where the magic happens. This is what we call the bathroom.
Yeah. My Prius.
So did you grow up in a largely Jewish community, or were you guys outliers, or what was that like?
Somehow both, I think. Yeah, like, you know, we were the conservadox community of our town, but
is there a liberadox community too? Or is there
what? A like
liberadox? Yeah, like the opposite of conservadox.
No, because there's no liberal Jews, it turns out, ever. But no, conservative is like, so the Judaism is like sectioned off into conservative, Orthodox, like Hasidic, which is like the most. That's our Amish, and then Reformed is like the you're not supposed to say less religious, but I mean, let's be real. They were driving to synagogue. They didn't try. But
they didn't try.
But no, Reformed Jews are the ones that are like assimilated to modern society and reality, and probably like their families and lives a lot more
than liberal Jews.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but they're called Reformed, not. Which maybe we should start calling liberals reformers.
That would be a great idea. I think
apply some change.
The messaging and the marketing of liberals is not good.
It's not good. Yeah.
Bad. We have to be pro-choice. They're pro-life. What? It sounds better.
Yeah. I love choice. I think that pro-choice still sounds pretty great. To me.
Choice is fantastic. That's me dunking on choice, but I think they got the better one.
Pro-life is the better one.
I don't know. After this last year, I'm not feeling so pro-life, you know?
Yeah, life can take a hike. You're right.
Yeah, you know, come on. I'd rather choose. Oh, wait. Okay, there we are. That's where it is.
But Mal is Reformed, and they have like 2 days of fasting a year, or like 1 day of fasting a year.
Yeah.
Other than that, they'll go to synagogue like maybe twice, I think.
Right. It's the high holiday. Well, there's those in the conservative community too, and that was a real like bummer for me because we used to have to like walk every weekend to synagogue, and like during the high holidays in September, you know, there's the Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur crowd are the people that only go to synagogue on the high holidays, and because of that, they have like, you know, like remote theaters, synagogues. They have like all these different chapels. They'll be like, it's like a circus of like 4 different chapels running within one synagogue during the high holidays, and you have to buy tickets for the high holiday yeah, and my family is pretty poor, and well, we lived beyond our means, and so we would always get like downgraded to like the lowest, like the synagogue that they set up inside like the child's play area, and with like the rent a rabbi. That's what we had for the high holidays. So I was very even I went through like a kind of religious phase of like wanting to be more involved in Judaism when I was younger, but like I think something about specifically that experience of like the pay to play religion really just turned me off of the whole thing.
That makes all the sense in the world. And I grew up pretty strictly Catholic, and we Christmas was like that, where it would go from, hey, it's just me and my parents and probably 8 other families, to, oh, you guys got here 15 minutes later than you should have, and now you have to go to mass in a basketball gym. It's like, oh, shouldn't this is but we're here all the time. They're like, you gotta come on. And like,
Yeah.
and I think like at that point, I was like, oh, it's still mass. Like it's still an hour. It's still the same thing. And then my mom,
Again, an hour. Like you have no idea. Like we were walking to synagogue in every kind of weather in Massachusetts to sit
Oh
through
no.
like a 3 or 4 hour situation, followed by a luncheon, and then walking home. Usually we were pretty late, so we missed a lot of it, but still, yeah.
yeah.
Jeez, I did not know it was that long. Y'all have black church service. I had
Ooh.
no idea.
Yeah, without the joy.
Without the star-making performances. And what was your, I don't think we've talked about this. What was your kind of religious situation as a young greenhorn out there in the Pacific Northwest?
Yeah, I grew up Pentecostal, so like we're Kojic, Church of God in Christ. It's like just very much like a traditional like black church. But then it's like Pentecostal, so speaking in tongues and things like that. It was a Christian, I guess like a typical Christian experience, I guess. I don't know. The big holidays are like Easter and you know, those are the times where everybody comes to church.
Yeah. Did you
It's kind
ever?
of, sorry, it's kind of funny that I said speaking in tongues like wow, as if I wasn't speaking Hebrew the whole time.
Yeah. That's
That's Hebrew's more of a back of the throat.
Sure, sure. Speaking in tonsils, speaking in
Yeah.
tonsils.
Put that on a t-shirt. That's very nice. But did you ever see anybody do the whole like
yeah, catch the Holy Ghost is what we'd call it.
Like I don't know. In Catholicism, it's just like there's Judaism, there's Catholicism, there's Islam, and everyone else is nuts. Get them out of here. So I have no frame of reference for like Pentecostal or what that even.
Just all the sects of Christianity. Yeah, I would see people like catch the Holy Spirit. That happens. It was like, it was a good church service if somebody, got the Spirit.
Oh yeah.
I didn't even think anything of it. It was like normal to me because I never went to any other church. So I'm just like, oh yeah, this is what happens. And then you go to another church and it's like boring and like slow and like nobody gets the Spirit. You're like, man, y'all don't really believe like we believe at my church.
But like also though, from what I know of like I've only probably even seen it. I've been to a Mormon church with my black au pair, but that was not a black church. And it was actually just a very weird situation. But she was a black Swiss Mormon. Those like don't exist.
Whoa.
Yeah. But the idea of a black church, from what I do know, at least from TV, is the kind of thing where like when somebody catches the Spirit in there, is like, are they just having a good time though? You know what I mean? Like, is it the Spirit or are they just like in it? Like
No,
I mean, I guess
it's a good time when God is on your side.
Well, yeah.
Awesome. That's fantastic. There was a bit of an upheaval at my church when they introduced the devil's instrument, the acoustic guitar. There was something that needed to happen. It was like it's like Mark brought an acoustic guitar. All right, what's next? That was everything at my church. Is like, oh, what next? Are they gonna let whatever in here? It's like, no, it's fine. It's okay.
Do you guys have this at church too? At synagogue, there's always the old man who has candy, like the old man with a pocket full of candies, right?
Yes.
And all the parents are like, "Oh, go visit that guy."
Yeah.
My dad is that guy now.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. That's fantastic.
I'm
kind
glad you
of.
said that before I said what I was gonna say.
No, honestly, you could say it and it probably it would apply. But or maybe not, but either way, like trust me, no offense taken.
I just want to get ours out there that ours was called Cliff. His name was Cliff. And he also had a catchphrase where he would give you the candy and he'd say, "Hey, how about them Tigers?" He'd want to talk to you about baseball. And I just go, I'm 5. So, but your actual school though, was that a very Jewish situation?
Yeah, like first through eighth
Brookline?
grade.
What was the name of the town in Mass you're in? Just so I know.
I was in Sharon, Massachusetts, which is like super Jewish, but it's not like if you're in Massachusetts, like Newton is the like wealthy Jewish. Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple little bubbles. Newton is one of them. It's kind of like how in Illinois, like Highland Park is like very like expensive Jewish people, and then Skokie is like pretty Jewish, but like on a budget, you know?
Yeah.
Sharon is more like Skokie, but it's, like, it has a little bit of everything. It has definitely some ritzy Newton style mansions, but we lived on the other part of town.
I tutored in Skokie like earlier this year, and once they found out that the Margulises had a goy who was helping their kids, I started to get some text messages about coming over on Fridays and helping out.
Wow.
Like
Yeah,
about doing chores for people on Sabbath.
for sure. I bet, yeah.
Oh boy, I can't.
They probably got excited just at the Irish last name you got there,
Yeah.
They didn't even need to meet you. They're like, we got one, you know?
But did I help put up a couple of Sukkot? Damn right I did. It was a nice time.
That's awesome.
Make a fun tent. It's
Yeah.
Also, Newton has so much money because of they got their hand in that fig trade.
Yeah, the fig tree.
Right. I didn't go to Sharon Public Schools though until high school for a brief stint. But I did go until 8th grade. I went to the South Area Salman Schechter Day School, which is a very Jewish day school that they have one in Newton, I think, that was around for years, but the one I went to started the year that I started going to 1st grade. So I was like in the inaugural class of that branch. And they've relocated now, but when they started, it was in the basement of a synagogue in Stoughton, Massachusetts. And my class stayed the smallest throughout. So, I mean, I always had a pretty small class where my grade was combined with the level above mine. So
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
1st grade was first and second. And then by the end, in 8th grade, they put my class with like the lower class. So it was 7th, 8th grade for 2 years. But my 8th grade graduating class was 5 kids, including me.
Holy crap.
I thought, I graduated with 25 kids in my graduating class from 8th grade.
Wow, that's also tiny. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not 5.
5. Yeah.
You still keep in touch with any of these kids?
No. That's so crazy, right? I mean,
yeah,
There's 5 of you. Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
So like my best friend in school, the only other gal in my graduating class is Pam. And Pam, I don't know what happened to Pam. Pam like straight up disappeared. She's not on any social media. Never been able to find her. I know her brother went to West Point, so maybe there's some like government military stuff going on. I don't know, but never been able to track down Pam. Josh.
Special surprise guest. Reena.
I would flip out. Pam was very cool. Pam got to play Joseph in the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat musical that we did, which was very cool. And even though Pam already was the star of one school play, I still felt a little bit of resentment when I got to be Dorothy in the Hebrew Wizard of Oz. But it was like my turn, Pam. So
you had a great audition. It also was your turn.
Yeah. Well, I had a great audition, and also they were like, let's give her something. She's had a rough 7th grade. I was in the mental hospital the year before, so they were like, let's be really nice in 8th grade, and I got to be the star of the play, but also one of two choices for
But the most important question is, did you nail it?
Did you know?
yes. Okay.
Hell yeah.
Yes, I did.
We're off to see the wizard.
But now I want to figure out the other guys in my class. One of them was like in the States. His family moved from Israel for a few years, so he went back to Israel, but we're still friends on Facebook, even though, we lost touch. Another guy I'm friends with on Facebook, and we just like don't chat, and that's fine. He's nice. But then another one, I think it's another like government secret position thing because he was like the smartest kid in our class, and his dad was one of our teachers, and he was our fifth grade teacher, Mr. Waldman. And Josh, I've never heard a word about him or from him. And just based on his grades and stuff, I'm like, yeah, he's doing something probably secret.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing that this school of 5 kids had a better theater program than my high school of 12 kids. Didn't even have any of that. No plays, nothing.
Well, I mean, what it was is one mom that really made it happen for us, Marlene Moyer, shout out. She like
To you, Miss Moyer.
It's gonna really blow your mind. Marlene, here we go.
I wish. I love Marlene.
Yeah, the only thing I'm thinking about is like, was this like a like an Eddie Murphy thing where you just got one person playing like 6 roles? Like, how does this work?
We're off to see the wizard. Here I am. No, I mean, so there was 5 kids in my class, but by the time we did the Wizard of Oz, I mean, like the 7th grade class was also a part of it. There was like 8 kids in that grade, and then so the whole middle school was playing like speaking roles, and then all the munchkins and everything were, the younger students in the school. So it was like a very big production. And like they did the same thing when they did The Lion King in Hebrew, where they had like a lot of the younger grades play. Like my brother was an elephant; he didn't have lines.
Was the whole play in Hebrew?
Yeah.
No.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah. Like certain words would stay in English for like context clues, like Doda M, Dode Henry, Anilo something. Something but Kansas, like I forget the line, but you throw in like the word Kansas so they know what part of the movie it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much better would it have been if you guys would have done The Wiz in Hebrew?
Honestly, I've never seen The Wiz. Isn't that weird?
It's a good time.
I've also never seen Oz or the prison show or the musical.
Oh, you mean no, what
is it?
Wicked.
Wicked, yeah. Oz. It's just the prison show.
Has nothing to do about Kansas or tornadoes or
Listen, I'm gonna figure out a mashup. If it hasn't been done,
That's amazing. Very quickly, I have 2 quick stories about what you just said. One of the last opening day for the Detroit Tigers I went to, J.K. Simmons threw out the first pitch because he's from Detroit. He's a massive Tiger fan, and the guy next to me, who we did not know was hammered. He just kept yelling, "Give him the Oz! Oz him!" It's like, whoa, dude, crazy.
Damn.
Also, my college girlfriend, I bought her tickets to see Wicked for our graduation, and we got in a fight, broke up the day before, still went to go see Wicked.
Oh, well, I mean, that's nice that you went. I heard it's a really good musical. I mean,
I have no problem. Wicked is for girls in high school. It's not for the refined musical theater aficionado Mike O'Keefe. That's all I'll say.
Well, yeah, we can't all, have that connection. I definitely that was my family like stopped going to the Jewish day school also. Like it was just like a really weird timing in our family history where like I was the only one of my 4 kids in my family to actually finish going through it to 8th grade. So there were no more Hebrew musicals after my brother's extra role in the Hebrew Lion King. But Yeah, they kept
Was
doing
that
them.
the reason? Was that the catalyst? Your dad was like, "All right, if my son can't get real roles, we're out of this school."
The hyena at least, or we're out of here.
Yeah, right? Yeah. No, things were like they were like letting my family go there for pretty much free, like charity of letting my family still go there for a couple years. So I don't think anybody was bartering for better roles in the school play. Kind of
Uh,
like, can she have a chair? Uh,
what happened after that, and what was that situation like? And if you want to talk about it,
oh yeah, it's like all kind
you
of
don't,
you
you don't
can't
want
really, yeah, it's all a weird combo of chain of events, but I went to like I spent most of seventh grade in mental hospitals, and out of them, but a lot in them. And
you can't have the in without the out.
you gotta have the out and the in.
I say it. I've been saying that about mental hospitals since board administration.
Um, yeah, the thing is that's weird is that I was like definitely like a troubled kid and troubled home life, but like the day that I went into the mental hospital was like I was having a great day. It was my first day of seventh grade. And we just had this like admissions appointment after class that day after school. So I went and they were like, well, yeah, sounds like you should be in here. So first day of seventh grade went great. And then they put me in a mental hospital for 2 weeks.
What the heck?
Uh, and yeah, anyway, that was in and out all year. But by the time I got out of the hospital and started eighth grade, it was like this real vibe. It's such a small school. There was like this real vibe, like everybody had been told to be really nice to me. And I mean, I was dealing with bullying before that. Like, the kids don't understand when other kids are like sad, like they get picked on because they don't understand, like, oh, this child has a rough home life. They were just mean.
Not a lot of empathy at that age.
No, yeah. So I had some bat mitzvah parties fully ruined by the mean girls in my school. But then, yeah, once I got out of the hospital, it was kind of like I felt like untouchable. Like, everybody was so nice to me. The mean girls had actually gone to public school, so my class was down to five, and Pam was always cool. So yeah, I was the star of the school play, great year. But then when I went to high school, it was my first time being in a public school setting, and like my first time having like a locker. And it was just really overwhelming to like be in that all of a sudden. And so I like wouldn't go. I like put up a stink and just like wouldn't go sometimes. Or I had like enough experience at the public school of like knowing that it didn't feel good as far as like being very keenly aware that I was sitting at like the rejects table for lunch. And um yeah, I was in the nurse's office a lot because I was like really faking sick. And um because of my at this point I was doing like pretty okay in general, but because of my mental health history and all the hospitals and stuff like that, I was able to go to a alternative high school, an alternative school for like anybody in your public school that like threw a desk and then you never saw them again. That was where I went to their school.
You felt better being in the alternative school than in like a traditional classroom setting?
I
I know the
did, yeah.
smaller, it's like smaller classrooms for sure. Like that would help, but like I feel like the group of kids that typically were at the alternative schools were the kids throwing desk, and you were just like, heck yeah, let's
Yeah.
throw some desks today, guys.
Yeah, let's.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we had all kinds of kids in that school for all different kinds of reasons, but definitely the desk throwers were in there. And I mean, the truth is that when I was at that age, like I don't even remember most of my teenage years because they had me on so many different medications back then. Because that was when
Okay.
that's when all that boomed. So like me and like some of my friends well, one of my best friends that I still talk to from high school from that special school, like yeah, it's a kind of a blur because they were over medicating all of us. So some of like the real desk throwy kids were like sedated.
Yeah.
So yeah. There was one guy, Keith, that was always asleep in our cafeteria, which was next to the art room, and like he would just sleep through lunch service every day, which again, it's not a proper cafeteria. They bring food from the hospital that my school was attached to, and the secretary served it to us. And anyway, Keith would always be sleeping through lunch service, and so sometimes the kids, we would like mess with him a little bit. And I'll never forget, like, one day I was like kind of dangling, holding a ketchup packet over his sleeping face, and like, me and my two friends were having a good laugh, and we thought Keith was dead to the world, passed out from whatever they had him on, but he like woke up violently and grabbed me by the shirt and ripped my pocket off. He's like, "Don't you dare do that again!" And so yeah, I mean, he was still in there.
Out.
Yeah, but then he went back to sleep, and he slept in our lunchroom every day.
Like I know, because we're pretty close to the same age.
Mhm.
A couple buddies who had experiences like that, where they're like, well, I had to go see this psychiatrist,
Mhm.
put me on X, Y, and Z, and I don't remember that month, and then I got off of it, and like,
Yeah.
I luckily, I mean, I broke my wrist sophomore year, and luckily my mom had the foresight to be like, don't give him pain pills. He doesn't need the pain pills. He
Oh,
can't.
good for her.
And it was like looking back now, that probably, there's a good chance that might have saved my life, honestly.
Jeez.
Because it was just open season for doctors getting these kickbacks from these pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah,
And
I've been reading about it. It's like, okay, I'm gonna not go through the rest of my life mad about that, but
to be a non-ER doctor, and oh man, part of it's probably why Pfizer made this fucking vaccine. Honestly, like that's a lot. I think that had a ton to do with it. But
yeah, like why work on, curing AIDS when we can definitely profit off of the company that solves boners, and then they'll be the ones that save our lives in a pandemic,
Of course.
because they did well because they did the thing that we cared about the most.
Save the dicks.
Yeah.
Well, I remember when they were like about to approve the vaccine, like maybe 10 days before it came out that COVID could cause impotence.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this thing is about to be solved in a
You know what it does do, and I can confirm because I heard the rumor, and I can vouch that the Pfizer vaccine, after you get the second shot, does make that next menstrual cycle an absolute nightmare. So, yeah, it's really cool. And let me know. Somebody told me that, like, oh, I heard your period after you get the second shot's really brutal. I'm like, let me know when they make something that makes them better because, like, I'm sure it does. And it did. Wow. Really, let me tell you, you haven't really done crowd work in Indiana and like dealt with like what I dealt with this last weekend. You haven't really done it until you deal with like the most sexist things you've ever heard in your life, and then an hour at the merch table, and then you go and realize that you've filled your tights with blood. So anyway, is that what we're talking about on this show?
Believe me, we're right here for you.
I have to tell you, honestly, this has to become a joke, and this is not about, I mean, it's about education when you think about a learning curve, but this guy, he was talking to Rebecca Gibson, who was there with me. She was featuring on this show, and he was talking to her about toxic masculinity and trying to kind of like explain. He was mansplaining toxic masculinity. He was trying to explain why the things that all of the men in that room were saying were so loud and awful was because of this thing called toxic masculinity, blah, blah, blah. I tune into this Portage, Indiana feminist. He thought he was like the wokest guy in the room. I tune into the conversation. I swear to God, this is what he said. I tune in and I hear him say like, yeah, toxic masculinity, it's a really bad thing. But, if I can be honest, to be fair, the toxic masculinity around here, the men are really only as toxic as the women are fat.
Whoa. Man.
Damn.
Oh, man. Chicken, meat, egg.
Yeah.
Can't be too woke, it's Indiana still.
Yeah. Oh my God. I like still like I can't believe that man really said that.
Portage is an old Native American word for glass houses. What the that's insane, dude.
I'm still learning every day is my point. Every day is a lesson. Every day you learn something.
What a way to be humbled in that moment. Just
that's so nuts.
Yeah. I mean, then he bought he gave me $20 as a tip when he bought one of my books. So it's like, yeah, I mean, you're dumb as hell, but I will take it, like, thank you.
Money ain't dumb. Come on.
Ooh, a couple more of these. I could afford to go to the high holidays.
Oh man.
Yeah. Anyway, the long story short too about high school for me is that I mean there was like a lot of alternative stuff going on in that education. If you could, I mean, we could break down some of like the highlights that are funny, but I will say like I I had to beg them to let me stop taking pills. Like they did not. It was not. I was getting when I was 15 blood tests every month to make sure that the medicine that they had me trying out wasn't going to cause heart failure. When I was 15. So they definitely were just having a really good time experimenting on all that stuff. By the time I was a senior in high school, I was doing pretty well, and they wanted to just my IEP send me back to the public schools, and I was like, you know, I'm so close to the finish line here. Like, I can get through another year of this. Like, I don't make me sad again. You know what I mean? Like, don't put me back in the thing that hurt. Like, so I had to beg them to let me. That was kind of part of the condition. Like, me begging them to let me wean off all the medication was like the only way I could get them to let me stay in that like safe environment of that school.
Yeah.
Was the school that you went to like the high school, the like the traditional high school? Was there a lot of Jewish students over there? Or was it just kind of mixed basket?
Definitely like higher percentage Jewish, but definitely a little bit of variety too. Mostly white, very Jewish, but definitely some variety in the mix. Like I remember at my losers table, like I mean my two friends were like maybe the only two black. No, there were other black students in the class, but like that was a weird way to tell you that the black kids in my school were considered losers. I was with them. I don't think that makes it better. Yeah, I don't know. It was
Like, they
really
weren't
so.
losers to me.
Thought they were cool.
Yeah. No, I mean there was definitely all kinds of kids there, but I really like I was only there so briefly just for like a few months that I don't really remember a lot of public school except for yeah, like my journey to get out of there. I remember getting the TI-83 calculator and in math class we would all be playing Duck Hunt.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Guy right here. Loved it.
But otherwise, I really do, between Judaism and mental health, I really struggle for like cultural references for people my age. Like, that's been a real journey through my adulthood of being like, oh, haha, I'm not like you. Oh, we didn't have that. So,
Do you remember like any situation? Like, when was the first time you went to a movie theater?
um, so my dad would we went to the movies like I think my first movie I remember as a child, my first in the theater movie was Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which was very cool. And my dad took us like to the drive-in a bunch of times. I remember we did the drive-in as a family a few times. But then my dad became, especially after my parents got divorced, he got really into this community theater near our house that showed, I mean, like it was awkward seeing American Beauty in the theater with my dad,
Oh, okay.
listening, yeah, Fuck Me, Your Majesty, next to my dad, who's like, Do you want some tangerines? Because he always had like pockets full of fruit at the movies.
Good thing to bring in.
That's amazing.
Yeah. He also, let me just tell you, like, I know this is like, I don't want to, I know I've already used some bad language on here, but my dad would somehow find a way to, when it was the quietest moment of any movie, fart the loudest in the theater. Like, it was not cool. It was not cool.
No, that's just a good time.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love it.
But my brother and I have been laughing about it because that particular theater, like, my dad made himself a regular, but that doesn't mean they were like, oh, good, Fred's here, you know? And they had this they had this gallery downstairs in the basement of the theater called the MOBA, which stands for Museum of Bad Art. And
Oh fuck.
yeah, like it was kind of like a novelty thing that you look at on your way to the bathroom, but my dad like bought the merch and got like really into it. And yeah, he still sends us like updates if the MOBA is doing something. It's like, "Oh my God, Dad, like nobody they don't even want you there."
Oh man, I think you do get to an age where your level of things that you want to be into goes up, but your taste kind of goes down. And my dad had a T-shirt that said Roadkill Cafe on it, and on the back was their menu, and it was just all these fake dishes of like a deer that hit a truck, but it's a burger. It's
Oh
like,
God.
and that was notoriously his favorite shirt. And when we were like giving all of his, donating a lot of his stuff, my mom,
Yeah.
like through tears, she just goes, he would have wanted us to keep the roadkill.
Yeah. Yeah, he would have. But yeah, he would have. Yeah.
Really? Yeah, he would have.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. That's you don't know what's going to be sentimental until, it is. So,
It's so weird, and you can't judge yourself for it, but you need to have someone in your life to judge you for it, in my opinion. Like I can't be like, it was dumb that my dad liked that, but I need someone in my life to be like, yeah, it's pretty wild that your dad liked that. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah, you need people to keep.
Do you still have that shirt, Mike? Do you wear it on occasion?
I don't. It is at the homestead back in Ann Arbor.
Okay.
I just want to share like I have a t-shirt that is called Sundays on the Pot with George, and it's a oil painting of a man on a toilet. And it was absolutely a gift from my father from the Museum of Bad Art.
Man, that's fantastic.
We also, I will say this, like my dad is anyway, one time me and my brothers, they were visiting in Chicago and we went to, what's that shirt store on, I don't think it's there anymore, in Wrigleyville, like where you make custom t-shirts. Anyway, we went in there and we made shirts of my dad's face. I had a picture of him wearing a clown nose, and we made shirts that said "Number One Crazy," and we had another one of him like sitting in front of like a Jewish looking bookcase, and it said Shabbat. I leave work early on Fridays if I had a job. So we were like really into roasting my dad, like in a brutal way. So yeah, whoops.
So you love roasting him so much you brought cotton into the equation. I love it.
It is the fabric of our lives, you know.
Oil boy. Is it? So high school happens. What do you do after you graduate high school?
Well,
What's next?
okay, so like I got a diploma from my public school in Sharon through this alternative high school, but like I don't know with full confidence. Like I always was like very like tested well. I did well on the SATs, but I was really bad at like accountability with homework and things like that. And like,
Self-regulated learning, we call that.
well, the alternative school was like just as a quick example for Spanish credits, my lesson plan was to read Harry Potter in Spanish. And I did that by reading it in English. And, like,
Yeah, I was like, how do they
also,
prove that you actually read it? Like, what is you just read it in English and like, yeah, I got the story.
I mean, with that said, though, actual people who come to a different country and learn the language learn it by doing stuff like that.
sure, but like also Harry Potter has a lot of words that are like not English either, like muggles and
Yeah. Most of them.
So, yeah, our math class was a guy named Mr. McCarthy, and he had a wheelie chair, and he would just everybody had their own workbook for math, and he would come around and check your work in his wheelie chair, and not a wheelchair, just a chair on wheels. And so he would just like wheel around, check your work, but he was like so ready to retire and keeping track of so many different lesson plans at once that I would do like the same chapter like 4 times, and he just never caught on. Um, so yeah, I don't know how I would have done in a regular school, but I did get into a college. I didn't want to go to college after high school, because I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, which stays with you.
Take it from a guy going to grad school in his 30s.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They should make it an option for people that age to major in uncertainty, like, just learn some general, anyway. Um, my mom was worried that if I didn't go to college straight away that I wouldn't go at all. And so she insisted, like she said, I'll pay if you just go this year. I wanted to like be an au pair and do like a year of that first, but she convinced me to do college. I went to Bridgewater State College, but I think it's now Bridgewater State University. I don't know. I went for uh, psychology and teaching. Wanted to be a teacher. I think I majored in teaching and minored in psychology, and I dropped out of everything except for acting and Spanish.
That's all right. Yeah, why not, right?
Yeah, that was when I also started smoking weed, and so yeah, that was kind of what I did instead.
Yeah. Hey, you
I
know?
The acting class, though, I am very proud of this. Our acting class, I got an A. I dropped out of everything, but I got A's in acting and Spanish. And for our like presentation at the end, my best friend and I, we were taking this class together, and we also had our first apartment together. So we were adulting. But for our final scene, we chose the scene. We did 2 scenes. One was the overdose scene from Pulp Fiction. Uh, And and let me tell you, like the teacher was not impressed by our overly elaborate set design. Like nobody wanted or asked for that, and we did it. We created like a junkie's bedroom on this stage while they were like, "We're running out of time for your presentation," but we're like, "Still throw it anyway." That was not well received. But yeah, just the most swearing. And then the other scene we did was the scene from Clerks where Dante confronts his girlfriend about, you suck 37 dicks in a row. I played Dante.
Oh, nice.
Uh,
That's a great scene.
Did you draw on a fake goatee?
yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And I mean, people were freer before social media to just like do whatever felt cool, man,
Just get after it.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, this has been very fun. Thank you so much for being with
Yeah.
us. It's time for everyone's favorite part of the show.
I'm ready.
It's quiz time, dude.
Woo-hoo.
Tell us who you're playing for, Reena.
I am going to play for Nami appropriately, I think, given the context of everything. But that's the National Alliance for Mental something, uh, mental illness.
Yeah.
What else could that I have been? What else could
I'm focused on mental health. Okay, I don't want to.
There we go. There we
But
go.
is not a good name for it.
Yeah,
You need that vowel at the end.
yeah, and it's an amazing resource for anybody who's ever struggling. It's something that we've talked about. Both of us have used on the resource side of it. So I did some quick Googling, and having felt like their resources work and are helpful, I feel like that's a great charity.
Yeah. And, if Ken Ken's been a counselor for a little bit now, in a little different arena, but still kind of adjacent to mental health.
So, look into NAMI or look up Ken. Uh,
Either NAMI.org or bigblackschlongs.com. And I go my 12 rounds with the invisible demon every day. And
Yeah.
if you're out there and you're having if you're out there and it's rough, this last year has been complete dog shit for everybody. NAMI is a great resource for you. And just know you're not alone. The reason I try and talk about, taking antidepressants on stage or losing my father on stage is to just remind people that they're not alone and you're not alone, because we're in your ears. But right now, this isn't about touchy-feely, nicey-nicey, kissy-wissy bullshit. A GDPQ. Goddamn pop quiz. Here we go.
I failed the GDPQ.
Over one.
New merch coming soon. GDPQ shirts on the way, y'all.
Yeah. Also very quickly, I have to do this. I don't have to, but they best night ever, May 11th. I didn't mention it before.
Oh my God. Could you please plug the show?
I'm so sorry. I just remembered that I need to plug the show. But the ticket link will be in the description of the show.
Best night ever rules. Sorry, just had to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're on Tuesdays at the Lodge now. It's completely different. The only reason I didn't name it something else is because I didn't want to make a bunch of new social media.
You did the right thing. You did the right thing.
Oh yeah. No, none of the original producers are involved anymore. It's completely different. It is literally, we have a new flyer. That's nice.
Nice.
It looks pretty sweet.
Yeah, Sam's gone. Dave's
Wait,
gone.
it's you and Josh and who?
Just me and Josh. Right
Oh,
now.
that's great.
Yeah, trying to keep it a little bit lower impact just because of the things. And then once we get a little bit more consistency, we'll probably bang the third person on. And that third person, tell me if this is a bad idea. That third person, Chris D'Elia. How do you feel about that?
I'm all game for that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. How's he doing on TikTok?
Too much on TikTok.
I think he's a little too active.
Yeah.
Oh, is that where it happened? Was TikTok?
No, I'm just saying that there's a lot of kids on TikTok.
Right. Yeah.
No, I think it was. I don't know what he was doing.
It was Twitter. It's what gets all of them in trouble.
Twitter, the Wild West.
Twitter, or if you're a Republican, Venmo. Come on.
That's the. I hate to pick a favorite scandal. And I don't think that's my favorite way someone's ever gotten caught.
Yes.
Because I stopped using Venmo with Ken because I was like, I just don't like that people see me paying someone.
Yeah, it's a weird thing.
Yeah.
It's weird that people can see that. Obviously, you can make it private so they can't see exactly how much you're sending and all that kind of stuff. But it's weird that people know that there's transactions happening between you and another person. That's the weird part for me. I always put funny stuff in there. I always put crazy, wild, outlandish stuff. I'm like, yeah, big booty strippers in the closet. And then I'm like, hopefully this catches my brother up one day.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't show the amount though, and I will say, yes, privacy and all that, but on the other side of it, it's kind of like the most uplifting social media app, you're just like, oh, everybody's making money and, supporting the arts and buying drugs, and seems like everything's fine here. Yeah.
I do some gambling on sports. And there's a code that he doesn't use Venmo anymore, but there used to be a code on Venmo that he was like, you have to put this. This is the code that we all agreed upon. And I was like, what if you just change the code? That's the same thing as being like, listen, we're all gonna call marijuana Mary Jane, and no one's gonna find out. They're gonna find out, buddy.
It's just like the Matt Gaetz thing is so crazy to me because it's like yet another one of these talking heads that like, and I mean, that's really most of his body was a talking head, but, or still is, but it's one of these people that it's like, okay, so we've proven this guy is a liar. We're just not going to address the rest. You're just going to keep believing the lies that he was telling because, you know, proving one liar after another being a liar is not an indication that the whole thing's a lie. No, we'll just keep going with it. Cool, 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 cool. Oh wait, you guys hate pedophiles. Wait a minute.
Well, I recently found out how Lauren Boebert, is that her name? The woman from
You know what? Let's not be sure.
Lauren Boebert,
Yeah,
which you would hate probably.
bibbity.
She owned a restaurant a year ago. I had no fucking idea.
You know what? And that's instantly all you need to like, okay, like when it comes to Biden owns dogs, Trump could never have an animal, things like that. Like, what is like the humanity of this person? A restaurant owner? I don't know. AOC was a bartender. So I trust somebody who works in the service industry. We've all seen enough kitchen nightmares to be like, a restaurant owner? Bye.
There's no, I mean, yeah. And they love the small business owner. And I'm like, yeah, you guys ever worked in a small business? A lot of them are fucking nuts. A lot of them are crazy. Ugh. They're not the backbone of society. They're the backbone of things going out of business. Here we go.
AOC. I worked at Grubhub, and let me tell you, that's like, it's horrible talking to people who are hangry, but it's even harder talking to furious restaurant owners that don't have a full grasp of the same language you speak and are using a fax machine. Why? Why was it built that way? Anyway.
I worked for a company who was has positioned themselves as kind of Grubhub for very wealthy people in very nice restaurants, and even those people are nuts. It's a terrible industry. Anyway,
yeah.
I love eating out. I love waiters and waitresses in comedy clubs. You guys are all great, but sometimes the bosses are crazy, and I think anyone who worked there would agree with me. Here we go. Reena, you recently relocated to the great state of Wisconsin. So I have dialed up a Wisconsin trivia quiz.
Oh, this should go poorly.
Nami, sorry in advance. Nami's gonna have to call Nami after they see this donation.
I think actually it's a really good note, though, in general, to seek help when you don't necessarily need it. Think of it as like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I don't know how that relates to this, but yeah. I
get it, for sure.
Yeah. We're all winners, even if we don't play, we're all winners.
All right, question number 1. We'll start easy.
Okay.
What is Wisconsin's biggest city?
Milwaukee.
Correct.
Yeah. Yes.
1 for 1.
I'm in it.
There you go. I'm in it.
I don't know anything about Wisconsin. I just think wherever I am is the biggest place around.
Good for you.
Yeah.
1 for 1 so far.
Oh, feeling good.
Wisconsin has had, this is a true or false question. Wisconsin has had 3 socialist mayors. Milwaukee has. Milwaukee has had 3 socialist mayors.
True?
It's true.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Every time, by the way, when you just say Wisconsin to start it off or whatever, or that I'm already like, oh no. Please let this be about Cheez-Its.
That's a Massachusetts one.
Massachusetts.
The worst thing is I don't even really know where they come from still. I'm just like, that's what it is in my head and my heart.
It's probably Wisconsin. It's probably Wisconsin, right? Cheez-Its. It's gotta be Wisconsin.
That's a Nabisco snack.
Don't get me excited like that.
Kellogg is in Michigan.
Okay. Wow. I have to changed my whole life.
You get one of these dumb tattoos, buddy.
Yeah, I feel instantly closer to you and also like a total stranger. You know what I mean? It's very weird.
That is called making friends in stand-up comedy.
Accurate.
Yeah. All right. What is Wisconsin's state wild animal?
A keg?
That is their domesticated animal.
Yeah, you're right. Oh man, I really a deer.
It is. It's the white-tailed deer.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
Neat. Wow, I'm really good at this.
You're batting 1,000.
Oh man.
It's like also the state animal. Let me think really hard. What's the thing I've almost hit the most of with my car? That's it, you know?
People.
Yeah, right.
Drunk people.
Yeah.
We're gonna get you with this one, and by get you I mean who knows.
I don't know.
The state of Wisconsin has more country music what than any other state? Wisconsin has the most country music what?
Oh. Stations.
Very close. Country music festivals.
Oh,
Weird.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
More than Texas or Tennessee? I feel like Tennessee would have more.
Well, Tennessee's just got that all the time country.
Yeah,
music.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
I guess that's why it makes sense there's so many comedy festivals in places that aren't funny.
Yeah.
I've been to so many weird places. just like, why are we in Ohio? Why are we
I just liked seeing like the fear kind of dance in Mike's eyes there, just now being like, wait a minute, can we say this without making fun of a particular festival? Perfect.
Something that I was gonna say, and I was trying to think about whether there's still a festival, and I don't remember it, so let's move on.
We can say Bridgetown, but that is, I mean, Portland's a great comedy town.
Portland's
but,
great.
I actually hate Portland, and
you're from Seattle.
You're from there. Okay, that's fair.
I started in Oregon too, so I can hate Portland. It's fine.
Yeah,
you're allowed. Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, there's towns in Michigan I don't love. It's fair.
Yeah.
I love visiting Portland. I don't think I could live there, even though I love I mean, not Oregon, the Oregonians. I just learned that term.
Oh, is that like the people who
the rest of Oregon?
Yeah, I mean, I performed for them in November, so it tracks. I've been there. Yeah.
I feel like I would thrive in where's OU at?
Eugene.
I think I would do okay in Eugene or Portland, the rest of it.
No, I love that. I love flyover places. Like I love like the super conservative rooms, and that's the stuff that I love.
Man, you should play Portage.
Well, like you're doing Valpo soon. You already did Valpo.
Yeah, I do Valpo all the time. Like the super conservative spots are like I just do fine there. You just touch their insecurities, and you flirt with their wives. I don't know.
There would be all these rooms in metropolitan Detroit that were in very white suburbs, like Livonia, Michigan, Joey's, which we've mentioned a bunch of times on the show, but black dudes would destroy in those rooms full of all white people. And it, like when I first started, I was like, I don't get this. And then I was like, oh, I kind of, this makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It's weird. It just makes sense. But like, it's just, I don't know. There's nothing I can't explain it. They just like me.
Yeah.
No, that happens a lot of places too. And I think it's like the only moment where subconsciously they might like be onto acknowledging their white guilt or white privilege. You know what I mean? Where they're like, okay, like I'm not ready to acknowledge racism or anything like that, but like this guy's really funny. You know, like I'll buy his merch. I like this guy, you know?
But just don't move into my neighborhood. Like
Right.
glad I'm
Yeah.
speaking here and not in a PTA. That's
Yeah.
but no, and also you're a funny, charming man, and they love you, and everyone's going to see you May 25th at Best Night Ever.
Oh, hell yeah.
Had to move Ken because someone needed to run a JFL. Sorry about that, buddy.
That's fine, dude.
All right, next one. That was 3.
That was 4. We have one more.
Uno Mas. Want to thank the great people at triviaplaying.com for being really good at their search engine optimization. This is the first one that came up. If you're ever thinking, how do they come up with these quizzes? Or just not. All right, here's your final one.
Wow.
All right.
Sorry.
Wisconsin is home to the Located in Wisconsin. Also, no one fact checks or spell checks these websites. This is word for word what it says. Wisconsin is home to the Located in Wisconsin. What is the name of the world's oldest operational racetrack? What is the name of the oldest operational racetrack? It's in Milwaukee. What is it?
I really don't. I don't know. Wisconsin doesn't really seem super athletic to me.
Would have to be racetrack, cars.
Racetrack.
I was
Yeah,
thinking
I don't.
horses, actually.
And maybe horses, yeah.
Yeah, the Miller High Life racetrack.
Very close.
Pabst Theater Racetrack.
the Pabst Theater. It's called the Milwaukee Mile, but
Oh, cool.
sure.
Yeah.
You did great, though.
Thank you.
And I tell you what, much like we do every week on the show, we're going to give the whole $25 to Nami anyway.
Wow, I did not see that coming at all. I'm blown away.
No one ever does.
I'm blown away. Wow.
Use it all the time. Or do they? All right, Reena, thank you so much again for being here. This was a blast.
Thank you.
Tell us where we can find you. Tell us all that good stuff. What do you got?
Oh man, you can find me out in the parking lots and the roads of America. You can. I'm at truck stops, baby. You can. No, you can find me. Instagram is kind of, I guess, my favorite, and I post a lot of travel pictures. So I'm at Reena Calm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I am supposedly on TikTok as well, but don't expect much. I've got a website. You know, I feel like at this point, if you really like me, it's pretty easy. I have a really unique name. You know, just Google it. I'm sorry. Just come to Wisconsin, and I'll be there.
Go down to the Milwaukee Mile. You guys put some money on some whatever. It's going to be great.
I have a book of puns on Amazon, so if you like supporting the fact that I learned how to read and write, that's a great way to do it.
Once Upon a Time.
Yeah.
Name of the
You
book.
can't see on the audio listeners, but I've got it ready right here.
Once Upon a Time, Legend of a Size Queen, which is one of my favorites of a book.
Is it really titled Legend of a Size Queen?
Yeah, but it's size like SIGH sigh.
Oh.
Oh. Like a groan that you get when you tell my kind of jokes.
Oh man, that's great.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Oh, nice. And we will link to the Amazon link for that in the description of the show. Thank you so much again.
Thanks, guys.
It was nice. You know, we're me and Ken actually are going to be up in Milwaukee in June.
Oh yeah, the tap.
Come do a set ski and all that good shit.
I will if I can. Yeah, that'd be great.
Love it. Ken, what do you got?
April 29th, I'll be doing a Drunken Night Out, which is my podcast and live show at the Lincoln Lodge. And then May 7th and 8th, I'll be at the Drop. Those are like the close dates. There's a bunch of other stuff in May and June and July. Check out my calendar, my website, bigblackschlongs.com. Then everything on Twitter, Instagram is Ken Hamlett.
Really website. That's really what it is.
I thought that was a joke. That's amazing. Congrats.
Ken, this is gonna blow your mind, Reena. The hosting for that website is $6,000 a year in Ken.
Wow, you could afford 3 of them.
Yeah. That wasn't on the air. This is very fun. May 11th, best night ever. And then we're going to be doing it every other Tuesday at the Lincoln Lodge is going to be best night ever. Every other Tuesday, Lincoln Lodge, best night ever. Awesome. And then, you know, I got dates coming up. I'm not going to say them now. I don't remember them. At the Mike O'Keefe on all your social media. For Reena Calm, for Ken Hamlett, for this toenail clipper I've been futzing with the entire recording.
Yeah.
My name is Mike O'Keefe. I was playing with it like it's a butterfly knife.
I was wondering when you were going to talk about it, but thank you. Okay.
I had to mention it because it's my... Well, eventually we'll do an episode about how I developed ADD through. For Mike O'Keefe, for Reena, for Ken, still have a crush on Danny Fernandez, and until that happens, ass dismiss.